Hi everybody, I'm Brooke Sanders, and this is Johnstown's Finest.
So thank you very much for sitting down with me today.
Thank you for having me, Brooke.
Oh, it's my deepest pleasure. We're just going to jump right into it because we have quite a few questions here today. So the first question is what do you believe is the role of City Council in our community?
I believe that the role of City Council is to govern the city, to set the legislative agenda, to listen to the people, to set the strategic vision for the city, and then more broadly for the members of City Council to be leaders in the community because they are the face of the city.
What is your approach to handling controversial and complicated issues when they arise?
I think with any controversial issue, you have to start by listening. You should listen to both sides, and if there's more than two sides, listen to all the sides. I think you have to take your time, listen to the best arguments presented, but then ultimately it's going to be the decision of the elected officials to take all of that information, to boil it down, and to do what they think is right for the city of Johnstown.
Based on what you know about city government, what do you see is the top priority for our city and why?
I think we have a lot of issues facing our city. We have a lack of economic opportunities, decreased property values, crumbling infrastructure, blight, and crime. Tough to prioritize any one of them over the other because they're all interconnected. I think you would have to start with the economic outlook, though. As you improve the economy, I think you're able to prepare yourself to address those other issues. More money coming in means you have more money to address the blight and the abandoned properties. You have more money to address the infrastructure. And so I think you have to focus first on improving economic opportunities.
And so give me just a brief synopsis on how you would go about initiating bringing more economic opportunities here in Johnstown.
So I think you would start by listening to the existing business community, asking them what can be done to improve their business, what can be done to set up them for success, to expand, to grow, perhaps to employ more people. But then also we have to create an environment for the city that is conducive to new business coming in as well. Making it as easy as possible for people who are interested in doing business in the city to start their business in the city. So I think it's both and. We have to do a better job at being responsive to the existing businesses so that they can do better and they can hire more people, but also making it easier for new businesses to start in the city of Johnstown, to be welcoming to them.
Okay, so let's hear about your community involvement in our city.
I've grown up in the greater Johnstown area and lived here my whole life. I graduated from Bishop McCord Catholic High School in 2016, and that's where I met my high school sweetheart and now wife, Taylin. Taylin just recently graduated medical school, and we're excited that she's going to be starting as a resident doctor at Conemaugh. I'm due to graduate law school, and I'll be coming back to Johnstown to practice law here. For community involvement, I used to play sports in high school, baseball, basketball, and soccer. And although I don't play sports anymore, I officiate sports. I am a PIAA umpire for high school baseball, and I also umpire in the Johnstown City League at Roxbury for the Pony and Colt Leagues. And I'm also involved with the Discover Downtown Johnstown Board, and they're the organization that puts on so many events downtown. Recently, we just had our bunny hop for Easter. We're going to be having the Taste and Tour event coming up on Memorial Day weekend. And, we're also known for putting up that big Christmas tree in Central Park.
Yes, indeed. Yeah. That's very exciting. So my next question is regarding our blight issue in our city. It's a big problem. I don't know anybody that's not concerned about it. It has affected pretty much every single part of our city area. And so what are your thoughts? Do you have any solutions?
Yeah, I think the blight issue is a huge issue facing our city. And, I don't think that we can do too much to address it. I think starting with codes enforcement, more strictly and consistently applying the current ordinances and the current codes is vital. If you let people get away with not taking care of their properties and not documenting it, then they are not going to take care of their properties. I think another creative solution to the blight issue, one that I have not heard talked about, but I know that it exists, is using the Blighted Property Conservatorship Act, which is a law passed by the state, which would give interested parties, and the city would be considered an interested party, in asking the court to take control of properties, to rehabilitate them, and to eventually sell them if necessary. It requires some legwork up front to document why it's necessary for the interested party to take over a property. But I think it's something that the city should be looking into, and if not the city, at least the redevelopment authority looking into, to see what can we do to address this blight issue that we all agree is a problem.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that would be a creative solution that I don't hear anyone else talking about.
What policy changes will you be pressing for?
So I think when it comes to specific policies, I think we should take a pause and look at what we're doing to enforce the current and existing policies. I think that we're probably not doing enough with the policies and ordinances that we already have, and that's where the codes enforcement, I think, is so important at addressing the issues facing the city. You can write the most beautiful, perfect new policy you want, but if you don't enforce it or you don't implement it, then it's not going to bear any fruit. And so when it comes to any specific policies, I would like to work more at enforcing and becoming more responsive to the policies that we already have. I think we have to have flexibility as a city council to listen and to learn from what is working well and what isn't working well.
Let's talk about the core values that you are running on.
So I think that it has to start with honesty. I think the elected officials have to be honest with the citizens of this city about what's going on and their thought process when it comes to decision making. I think the elected officials have to listen to the voters. They're the ones that elect us. They're the ones that have the vested interest in what's happening in our city, listening to their concerns, and also transparency. Right? When voters are talking to us, we have to listen and we have to say, I hear you. I may agree with you on this. I may disagree with you on that. But we have to be honest about all of those communications, not communications happening behind closed doors. They should be open. And the elected officials should have to explain themselves to the voters on why they are making certain decisions. The elected officials have to be decisive, right? Whenever it's time to make a decision, we can't keep kicking the can down the road forever. Someone has to make a decision. And finally, I would say decisiveness is important, but flexibility is just as important. The ability to recognize what's going well, what isn't going well, and to change course on those things that aren't doing well, to try something new. Those would be the values that I would try to bring to City Council.
Tell people why they should vote for you.
Sure. So I think people should vote for me if they're ready for a new voice with new ideas from a new generation. I think that, I'm running for City Council to address the real issues facing the city, the serious issues, the issues of the, lack of economic opportunities, decreasing property values, crumbling infrastructure, blight, and crime. I'm not running for Johnstown City Council to manage the decline of the city. I'm looking to stop the decline and eventually try to work to turn it around. And so, if someone is interested in actually getting back to the basics and getting to work to make Johnstown a better place to live, work, and invest, then I think that they should vote for me for City Council, and I would thank them for their support.
Well, Nick, I just want to say thank you so much for sitting down with me.
Thank you, Brooke.
Oh, it's been my deepest pleasure to get to know you a little bit. I really look forward to working with you in the future. I know that you have some plans coming up, and I'll be tagging along as I do with everyone else. And Is there anything else you'd like to say to the community before we end?
No, I would just like to say thank you. Thank you for taking the time to interview me. To the voters at home, I'd like to remind them to vote on May 20th. That's the primary election, and so please get out and vote, and thank you, Brooke, for this.
And you know how I roll, community. Until I see you next time, stay friendly.